She walks in like the courtroom is her personal runway, tossing law and respect aside as if they were accessories. Every eye is drawn to her Prada heels and dripping gold, yet the tension is electric. This is a moment that will forever change one spoiled stepmom's life. The title reads, "Greedy Stepmom Disrespects Judge Caprio in Court. What happens next is a reality check." Today, we follow Madison Carter, a 22-year-old stepmom who has never faced consequences. Born into wealth, she treats people like props in her life story, and her husband's children are simply obstacles. The court is buzzing with whispers as Judge Frank Caprio prepares to hear a case that seems simple on paper, but is anything but ordinary. Behind the polished courtroom doors, tensions simmer, and an expensive handbag hides a storm. In just a few minutes, respect, pride, and entitlement will collide in a way that no luxury can shield her from. Madison Carter walks into Judge Frank Caprio's courtroom like she owns the building. Gucci sunglasses perched atop her perfectly styled hair, she tosses her Louis Vuitton clutch onto the bench with a flick that suggests annoyance rather than urgency. Every designer label is on display, from her silk Versace scarf to her diamond-studded earrings, a signal that money and influence are her armor. She doesn't notice the murmurs, the polite coughs, or the slight shake of heads from courtroom staff. The case is a child custody dispute, but Madison treats it like a photo shoot. She flips her hair, smirks at the opposition, and swipes her iPhone, posting an Instagram story of the courtroom, her caption dripping with arrogance. She doesn't realize that the person she's about to confront is not just any judge. This is Judge Frank Caprio, a man whose reputation for fairness and sharp wit precedes him. The court session begins, Madison interrupts, speaking over the clerk and dismissing procedural introductions. Her stepchildren sit quietly, a mixture of fear and anger on their faces. She waves her hand as if shooing them away, saying, "Let's get this over with. I have brunch at 11. The courtroom, a place meant for order and justice, feels off balance, like a boat in a storm. Judge Caprio raises an eyebrow, not with anger, but with the weight of decades of experience. His calm, deliberate voice cuts through the tension. "Madison, we are here to discuss serious matters. I need your attention." Madison sighs audibly, rolling her eyes as if she's been inconvenienced. She mutters under her breath, clearly thinking no one can hear her, but the walls of the courtroom carry every sound. Her first act of disrespect is subtle yet unmistakable. She dismisses the legal documents handed to her, flipping them onto the bench with a sharp flick. "I didn't read these," she says, her tone coated with sarcasm. The clerk's lips press into a thin line, while her stepchildren exchange worried glances. Madison's husband fidgets in his seat, clearly torn between pride and embarrassment. The atmosphere is tense, but one question hangs in the air. How could someone so young and privileged believe that rules simply do not apply to them? Her confidence teeters on the edge of arrogance, and the courtroom seems to hold its breath, waiting for the inevitable clash. Just as the judge prepares to respond, Madison smirks again and leans back in her chair, tossing her hair over her shoulder, her luxury watch catching the sunlight like a beacon of entitlement. She makes one final audacious statement before the real proceedings begin. "Honestly, I don't see why this is even an issue." Her words are like a spark in a dry forest. The courtroom tenses, hearts race, and everyone knows this is not going to be an ordinary hearing. But what happened next left the entire courtroom speechless. The courtroom falls into silence as the first pieces of evidence are presented. A series of photographs, texts, and financial records are laid out meticulously by the opposing attorney. Madison's confident smirk falters ever so slightly as the reality of the documents hits her. There's no room for charm or swagger here. These papers tell a story she cannot control. One by one, the evidence reveals years of neglect and manipulation. Credit card statements show extravagant shopping sprees, while the household bills go unpaid. Messages between Madison and her husband's children reveal sharp words, insults disguised as jokes, and even threats veiled in humor. The judge's eyes scan ever. Why Page, calm yet piercing, as if seeing right through Madison's carefully constructed facade. The tension thickens when a video testimonial from the eldest stepchild plays. The voice is steady, but the emotion is raw. "She treats me like I'm invisible. She takes my things, says hurtful things, and my dad doesn't even notice," the child says. The courtroom collectively holds its breath. Madison's hands tighten around her Louis Vuitton clutch. For the first time, the armor of designer brands feels flimsy. The opposing lawyer leans in, laying out a pattern of entitlement and disregard. Your Honor, these aren't isolated incidents. This is behavior repeated over months, if not years. It's clear who the priority is in this household, and it isn't the children. Each word lands like a hammer. Madison's face flushes, but she tries to maintain composure, tossing a glance at her husband, who avoids her eyes. Rhetorical question time. How can someone so young, with every privilege imaginable, fail to see the damage their actions cause? The courtroom collectively asks itself this question, though no one speaks it aloud. Madison finally tries to push back. She leans forward, voice sharp, tempting to redirect the focus. This is blown out of proportion. Those children exaggerate. I provide for this family. Didn't you see the gifts, the trips, the luxury? But her words sound hollow. Judge Caprio listens intently, his presence immense yet steady, refusing to be swayed by flash or flare. Then the bombshell drops. A hidden phone, recovered legally, contains direct messages in which Madison boasts to a friend about manipulating her stepchildren for personal gain. She admits openly to hiding money, controlling schedules, and even leveraging their misbehavior to justify extravagant spending. The courtroom goes still, not a whisper, not a cough, just the weight of undeniable truth. Her attempt to charm her way out of the situation collapses completely. Every expensive accessory, every designer label, every Instagram post now feels irrelevant. The evidence paints a picture of calculated neglect and entitlement, and there is no smiling her way out of this one. At this moment, the tension is nearly unbearable. Stepchildren clutch hands, the attorneys exchange knowing looks, and even the courtroom staff lean in slightly, sensing the turning point. Madison sits frozen, the ONCE effortless poise gone, replaced with a flicker of fear. She had underestimated the power of truth, of documentation, and most importantly, the unshakable fairness of Judge Caprio. And just when it seems she might crumble entirely, she glances at the judge, almost challenging him with her eyes. The room holds its breath again, waiting to see whether arrogance will meet justice head-on, or if Madison will finally face the reality she's spent years avoiding. But before Judge Caprio even utters a word, something happens in the courtroom that no one expected. Drop a comment below if you think Madison finally realized she's not untouchable. Madison sits rigid, her perfectly manicured hands clutching her designer handbag as the courtroom waits. Judge Caprio's gaze lands on her, steady and unwavering. The silence is deafening. Then, in a voice calm yet commanding, he addresses the room. Madison, it's time to hear from those affected by your actions. The eldest stepchild stands, shoulders trembling, but eyes filled with courage. I just want my dad to see who's really running our home, the child says. I don't feel safe, and I don't feel loved. She doesn't care about me or my sigh. Blings. The raw honesty hits the room like a tidal wave. Each word is a mirror reflecting years of neglect, manipulation, and emotional harm. Madison opens her mouth, clearly ready to dismiss the statements, but the judge raises a hand, stopping her mid-word. Silence, he commands. His voice is firm but fair. You will listen and you will understand. The second child steps forward, barely holding back tears. She brags about shopping sprees and vacations, while I miss meals or school supplies. It feels like my life doesn't matter, the child whispers. The courtroom is quiet, almost trembling under the weight of these confessions. Madison's lips press into a thin line, and for the first time, doubt flickers across her face. Rhetorical question time. How could someone so wrapped in luxury be blind to the pain of those closest to them? The answer hangs in the air, heavy and unspoken. Madison finally speaks, voice shaking slightly, attempting to defend herself. I was only trying to make everyone happy. I buy things, I throw parties. I thought that was enough. Her words, once meant to charm, now sound hollow and desperate. The luxury items surrounding her, her Gucci scarf, dear, Bond earrings, Prada clutch, feel meaningless. They cannot buy back trust, love, or respect. Judge Caprio leans forward, voice cutting through the tension like a blade. Madison, material things cannot replace care, compassion, or honesty. You cannot spend your way out of responsibility. These children need a parent who sees them, listens to them, and respects them. Each word is precise, deliberate, and unwavering. His presence is magnetic. The courtroom feels the gravity of justice being served, not with anger, but with undeniable truth. The stepchildren look on, a mixture of relief and hope washing over them. For years, they felt powerless, silenced, and invisible. Today, their voices are heard, validated by one of the most respected judges in the nation. Madison's husband, sitting beside her, finally shifts uncomfortably, perhaps realizing that his indulgence of his wife's behavior has consequences. Madison's arrogance crumbles. Her Chanel scarf, once a symbol of superiority, now feels like a shroud of guilt. Her smirk is gone. She swallows hard, voice barely audible. I didn't know it was this bad. The courtroom holds its breath. And then, almost imperceptibly, a GLI. Murmur of understanding crosses her eyes. She begins to see the ripple effect of her choices, the emotional scars, the fear, and the sense of invisibility she has caused. For the first time, she seems human, flawed, and vulnerable. A beat of silence. Then Judge Caprio continues, "Recognition is the first step toward change, but actions must follow. Will you take responsibility, or will you allow entitlement to define you forever?" Madison's next move could change everything, or seal her fate entirely. Hit that subscribe button if you're rooting for justice and transformation to win today. Judge Frank Caprio rises slightly, his presence commanding every corner of the courtroom. The air is thick with anticipation, each person leaning forward, waiting for the words that could change the course of this family's life. Madison sits frozen, clutching her Louis Vuitton bag, now less a shield and more a symbol of her misguided priorities. Judge Caprio's voice is calm but resonant, carrying both authority and empathy. "Madison, life does not reward entitlement. It rewards accountability, honesty, and the courage to face one's mistakes. Every action you take leaves a mark, whether you see it or not. Luxury and status cannot hide neglect, nor can wealth replace love." His gaze sweeps the room, landing momentarily on each stepchild, acknowledging their pain and bravery. He continues, voice rising gently, "I have seen many come before me with privilege and pride, believing the world owes them. Some are shaken by consequences, others never learn. Today, you have a choice. Will you continue to ignore the lives you impact, or will you take the first step toward redemption?" The courtroom hangs on every word. Madison's hands tremble slightly as she tries to maintain composure. Her once cocky smile is gone. Her iPhone, previously glued to her hand, now lies forgotten on the bench. Judge Caprio doesn't just speak to her, he speaks to the entire courtroom, teaching a lesson in integrity and human decency. Rhetorical question time. How many people mistake attention and luxury for respect and love, only to realize too late that what matters cannot be bought? The question lingers as Madison's mind races, the weight of reality pressing down on her. Judge Caprio pauses, letting the silence sink in. Then, with steady conviction, he addresses the children directly. "You have show and courage. You have spoken truth. Never allow anyone to make you feel invisible. Your voice matters, your feelings matter, and your well-being matters above all else." The stepchildren exhale, relief and validation washing over them like a wave. Turning back to Madison, Judge Caprio softens, though the firmness in his tone remains. Redemption is always possible. It requires humility, accountability, and consistent action. You must rebuild trust, not with gifts or gestures, but with sincere respect and care for those you claim to love. This is not merely a lesson in obedience, it is a lesson in life. Madison swallows hard. Her designer accessories, once symbols of power, now feel like obstacles she must shed to truly grow. She finally whispers, almost to herself, I understand." Her voice is shaky but genuine. The courtroom, once filled with tension, now feels like it has shifted. A subtle yet powerful transformation is underway. Judge Caprio leans back, nodding slightly, letting his words settle. The energy in the room is electric, a mixture of relief, awe, and anticipation. Madison's husband sits quietly, processing the reality that wealth and influence cannot shield them from accountability. The children glance at one another, hope flickering in their eyes for the first time in years, and just when it seems the lesson has been delivered, something unexpected happens that changes everything in the courtroom. Hit that subscribe button if you believe in second chances and the power of truth. The courtroom waits, tense yet expectant, as Madison takes a deep breath. For the first time, she sets her luxury handbag aside and looks directly at her stepchildren. Her voice is trembling but sincere. I have been blind. I thought providing things meant love. I see now that it was never enough. I want to change. I want to be better. For you, for this family. A collective pause fills the room. The stepchildren exchange cautious glances, unsure whether to trust. Her words. Then, slowly, the eldest nods. Actions speak louder than words, the child says softly. If you really mean it, we'll notice. Madison swallows hard, determination replacing fear. She finally understands that wealth cannot buy trust, and status cannot erase harm. Judge Caprio leans forward, a gentle smile crossing his face. Change begins with humility and commitment. It is never too late to choose respect over entitlement, love over self-interest. Today, the real lesson is not about punishment, it's about growth. His words resonate deeply, not just in the courtroom, but in every heart present. Madison immediately takes steps to demonstrate her sincerity. She promises to attend family counseling, to listen rather than dictate, and to prioritize the children's needs above her own desires. She also begins to return the extravagant gifts she had purchased in a misguided attempt to win affection, replacing them with acts of service, helping with school projects, preparing meals, and being present at every milestone. The courtroom witnesses a remarkable transformation. Her previously aloof husband, inspired by her shift, also commits to supporting the children more actively, breaking the cycle of indulgence and neglect. Even the stepchildren begin to open up, cautiously sharing memories, hopes, and fears, slowly rebuilding the bond that had been fractured for years. Rhetorical question time: can someone truly change when faced with the consequences of their choices? Madison's journey suggests that even the most spoiled, entitled individuals can find a path toward redemption, if they are willing to confront their mistakes. And then, as if the universe itself wanted to underscore the lesson, karma plays its final hand. Madison's extravagant collection of designer shoes, once symbols of arrogance, is accidentally donated to charity during a chaotic move. Her iPhone, constantly a tool of distraction, is misplaced in the same week. For the first time, she feels what it's like to have nothing material define her worth. Yet, rather than panic, she experiences relief, clarity, and an authentic sense of purpose. The courtroom, once rigid with tension, now feels lighter. Even the staff exchange small smiles, sensing the resolution. Madison's final act of humility comes when she kneels slightly before her stepchildren and apologizes, not with gifts or promises, but with honest words. Tears stream silently, shared by both children and adults alike. It's a moment of raw, unfiltered human emotion, a viral-worthy scene not for spectacle, but for the beauty of real change. As the gavel falls, sealing the formalities of the case, a ripple of respect and admiration spreads through the courtroom, leaving everyone inspired by a powerful lesson in accountability and compassion. Madison Carter walked into Judge Caprio's courtroom, dripping in luxury and entitlement, convinced that money and status could shield her from reality. She leaves with a different kind of wealth, understanding, humility, and the chance to truly rebuild relationships that matter. Today's story reminds us all that respect cannot be bought, love cannot be faked, and karma has a way of teaching the lessons we least expect. If you felt the weight of this story, hit that subscribe button, like this video, and share it with someone who needs a reminder that change is always possible. Don't forget to tap the bell so you never miss a moment of justice, redemption, and human triumph. Drop a comment below if you believe in second chances, and tell us what lessons you've learned from Madison's journey. Every story like this proves that even the most spoiled, arrogant individuals can find the path to true growth.